Hello all, my name's Matt Johnston and welcome to The Interesting Times, a show that likes to take a sideways swipe at politics right here in the UK. Well, the last Interesting Times was only 2 days ago, and I'll be honest, we normally struggle to get in some extra dirt. I mean, 2 days? What can happen in 2 days?
It's my strong view that the country wants to see a proper, full, and above all, an independent inquiry into the pandemic of the last year.
That's right, there is going to be a full and independent inquiry. And I know what you're thinking. This government has already managed to produce a whitewashed racism report and a Kremlin-Lee criminal Russia report. So when Boris Johnson says full inquiry, then you must inquire if he's taking us for fools. It's like getting a phone call from a number you don't recognise saying, "Now, I'm not trying to sell you anything." So what's the catch? It's this. The government were first contacted about conducting an independent inquiry in March 2020 and say they will start the inquiry in spring next year. And we all know that spring hasn't even happened this year, and it's nearly June. So that's already a delay of nearly 2 years. The inquiry itself, once all witnesses are called, will probably take another year, then a couple of years to produce the results. So that's likely a total of 5 years between the request for an inquiry and it being completed. So maybe while you're waiting for results, go and do something else like, I don't know, look at a sloth watching grass grow before being crushed by a glacier in a super slow motion video. It was a Queen's speech on Tuesday, not a speech that was written for her by the government. It included voter ID regulations, which means you now have to produce voter ID if you want to vote. There have been accusations that this will make voting harder for those that don't traditionally vote Conservative, like first-time voters. But at his soon-to-be defunct secret lair, Boris Johnson was quick to reassure people that targeting first-time voters with having to produce ID would be unreasonable.
I don't think it's unreasonable to ask first-time voters to produce some evidence of identity.
Oh well, nothing to worry about, I'm sure. They also introduced the Dissolution and Calling a Parliament Bill, which will get rid of the fixed 5-year period between general elections and return the power to call early elections to the Prime Minister. Yes, perfectly fine. No problem. And anyway, if the Tories did do something illegal, we'll simply take them to court. And finally, they introduced a judicial review bill, which will set out the government's plans to change how its decisions can be challenged in the courts. They're interfering with how and when we vote, and we can't even take them to court. Don't they care? Not really, no, as there was no room for the care bill, which they were going to include as well. After last week's local elections disaster, Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer has come under fire from 2 ex-leaders, who both sort of said the same thing, really. To the right, Tony Blair.
Sir Keir Starmer has to take for the failure at the last elections, and how much responsibility you take for Labour's performance at the last elections.
Well, I've not been the Labour leader now for 14 years. And if you mean the elections last week, I mean, these were all seats that we held very comfortably, even at my 3rd election attempt.
And to the left, Jeremy Corbyn.
I'm big and grown up and don't particularly care what people say, but I think it's a bit rich to start blaming me for stuff that's been done over the past year that I've had absolutely no part of whatsoever.
And we all know he's not a fan of Rich. Surely there's somebody out there who will stand by Starmer. Step forward, Deputy Labour leader and woman saying, "Now let's stop all this nonsense about a divorce and get back to work." Angela Rayner.
And we come to a decision over the weekend of where both of us felt I could make the best opportunity and the best of my skills in supporting his leadership. And that's what I want to do in my new role.
A bit awkward, really, as a lot of reports did seem to suggest that Keir tried to sack her. But did he?
Did Keir Starmer try to sack you?
Well, I'm not going to discuss what, the robust conversations that me and Keir have, and I've always had.
But I notice you're not denying that Keir Starmer did try to sack you, in your view. That's what your allies were saying. That's what your supporters in the party were saying. You're not denying that.
What I think is important, Laura.
Yeah, he definitely did. So that's it for another week. No time to talk about ex-Prime Minister David Cameron's 47 texts to the government trying to generate business for Greensill, who were an Australian capital-based business and Boris could have really done with picking up the phone to them as well, as one of the things they do is deal with the issue of late payments. And our Prime Minister and First Lord of the Exchequer, and I swear I'm not making this up, has a county court judgment against him. CCJ, BJ? No time even to talk about any of that, but we will. And the City of London suffered a £2 trillion loss in a single month due to Brexit, or as the Daily Express goes with, 2 million jobs saved as the economy surges. Hooray! So much to correct there, but no time. Well, thank you all so much for watching, and if you are enjoying these vids, please don't forget to subscribe, comment, and hit all the notifications bell so you don't miss another, and I'll see you all next week. Take care.